जी प्रणाम।
हाँ अच्छा
हाँ
ನೋ
समझे।
ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಲೈವ್ ಲೈವ್
ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಹೋಗಿದೆ
ಹೊರಟೋಗಿದೆಯಾ
ಹಾಂ ಏನು ಸಮಜಿ
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವೀಕ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು
ಆಯ್ತು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಮಾಡೋಣ
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವೀಕ್ ನನ್ನ ಜಪಯಜ್ಞ
ಹೌದು ಹೌದು ಸಮಜಿ ಹಾಡು ಹಾಕಿದಾರಾ
ಹಾಂ And start.
Start ಮಾಡು first. Start ಮಾಡು.
ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. My dear devotees, last week we were discussing about the life of Swami Adbhutanandaji Maharaj. Adbhutanandaji, as Swami Vivekananda describes, he was a miracle saint of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was a unique alchemist. Out of dust, he could create gold. He had told Adbhutananda, Natu, don't worry, because you do not have education, it's not going to mean anything. You don't need any education. You will see days to come, Saraswati will speak from your mouth. Indeed, it did happen. When we see in the later days, after the passing away of Sri Ramakrishna, after severe austerities of Swami Adbhutanandaji, when he used to talk to the devotees, he could speak from the worship of the God in images to the highest Advaita Vedanta, the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And all these things, it is not that by he has learned by the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. It helped him, of course, but it was his personal spiritual realization. How a man with no literacy, with no knowledge of scriptures, but by ardent devotion to the Divine Mother, higher than that, devotion to the Guru, he reached the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And the outcome of it was the knowledge he spread among the devotees. Sri Ramakrishna transformed who was Lato in the beginning, an orphan boy of lowly birth. He was not a Brahmin or a Kshatriya, he was a shepherd boy, coming from a rustic village. He had absolutely no education, not even the nice manners of talking or anything. His language was very peculiar, but he became a saint who commanded the spontaneous veneration of one and all. Last week we saw some of the incidents in the association of Sri Ramakrishna, and today we shall see some more. The advantage of studying these great lives of disciples of Sri Ramakrishna is you get lot of incidents, teachings of Sri Ramakrishna which is not found in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Even though Gospel is an exhaustive teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, Master Mahashai, the recorder of the Gospel, was not coming every day to the Dakshineshwar. So he has recorded only whatever, whenever he had come and whatever had taken place in his presence. But what about the other days? There were disciples like Swami Adbhutanandaji, who lived with the master day and night constantly, and was hearing the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna directly from the mouth of Sri Ramakrishna, and also several teachings given directly to Latu Maharaj, that is Swami Adbhutanandaji, and also several conversations which used to take place in the master's room, just as we find in the gospel when Master Maharaj was present, he used to record. But these other disciples, and also the household disciples, of course, they were all in their memory. Whatever Sri Ramakrishna used to say, they also used to keep in their memory and used to talk to the devotees later on. So that's how we have also got many incidents and also teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, which is not found in the gospel. So it makes all the more important that we should study these great lives, which will be a very great inspiration, mainly for that sake. It is a great inspiration for our spiritual practice and also the way in which we have to live. How Sri Ramakrishna was expecting that the devotees should live. That we directly get it from the lives of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, for example, we shall take some of the things which we find in the Latumara's life. Let us start with one such incident which is not found in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That makes all the more interesting to us. Now, Latumara says, Sri Ramakrishna was extremely frugal and did not approve of his disciples' extravagance. Latu recalls, once in Dakshineshwar, the master asked a devotee to light the oil lamp in his room. This incident will show us how we should be very, very careful in life, how we should be very concentrated in even the small works which we perform. The spirituality never means only taking the name of the Lord and meditating. That spirituality should get expressed in our daily affairs. So one such incident Latu Maharaj mentions here. He says, once in Dakshineshwar, the master asked a devotee to light the lamp in his room. As we know, in those days there was no electricity. Lamp is to be burnt in the evening. Usually a maid servant used to come and light the lamp and go. So one day Sri Ramakrishna asked a devotee who was there to light the oil lamp in his room. The devotee used 4 matchsticks. Naturally, it is on the bank of the Ganges, you see. A lot of wind will be there. Sri Ramakrishna's room is always open all the sides. So he struck a match before burning it. It got put off. So like that, 4 times he did it. Sri Ramakrishna was observing that. Then immediately he said, then got down from his cot and lighted the lamp himself. He took the matchstick from the devotee's hand and he burnt it and carefully burnt the lamp with one stick. That shows the absolute concentration. Because you will be aware that there will be wind, it will blow off, so very protectively you will have to light that lamp. So not carelessly. He said to the devotee, hello, the householders save their hard-earned money and give it to the monks. He said, where from I got this matchbox? Some devotee has given. How did he give? Where from he got the money? because he works and he toils, works morning to evening hard, and whatever money is saved, whatever money is earned, after spending for his family, a little of it he gave to monks, including himself, including Sri Ramakrishna. So he said they gave the hard-earned money. So, and is it proper to misuse their money? So Nataman was observing that. Then immediately he understood what Sri Ramakrishna is telling that to him also. So he says, another day I was about to use a matchstick to ignite his tobacco and he scolded me. Why do you waste a matchstick for lighting this tobacco? Go to the kitchen and get the fire from there. You go to the kitchen, carry this hubble bubble or whatever Sri Ramakrishna used. You can easily get a free fire. Why should you waste a matchstick for that? Ataman was exhausted. How keen Sri Ramakrishna is, how observant, and also how economical, not wasting, not wasting. He said, he scolded me, go to the kitchen and get the fire from there. It is amazing how Sri Ramakrishna used small things to teach his disciples. When not that Sri Ramakrishna used to teach them only meditation, taking the name of the Lord, concentrating and all those things. That spirituality has to get expressed in the daily doings, daily even small menial matters. Then he says, one day after the midday meal, the master asked Rakal to prepare some beetle rolls. Rakal replied that he did not know how to make beetle rolls. How strange, said the master. Does one have to be trained as an apprentice to learn to make beetle rolls? Go and prepare some and bring them here. Rakal did not make a move. Rakal was very, very free with Sri Ramakrishna. He always considered him, he is a child of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna also looked after Rakal as his own pet son. But sometimes he used to be very stern. So now he is scolded, go on. He said, I do not know how to prepare. How do not know means learn. It is not a very Brahmajnana. It is a small worldly affair. Do it. Learn it, how to prepare and all. But Rakal was not interested. He said no. And he did not move. Then this annoyed the Latu. Latu was there and he was becoming angry. How is Rakal is disobeying the master. He told Rakal, what is the matter with you? Won't you do what he says? And you are arguing with him. You are not behaving properly. There you see, Latumana becomes angry. Now, Sri Ramakrishna has a teaching for Latu also using this occasion. Latu's angry words provoked Rakal, who blurted out, if you think that is so, why don't you go and do it for yourself? I won't do it. I have never made a beetle roll in my life. By this time, Latu's anger had reached high pitch, and he went on saying many things inarticulately in his half Bengali and half Hindi language. He has become terribly angry, and that too in front of his master. The master enjoyed the commotion and called his nephew Ramlal. Hey Ramlal, come and see the fun. Just see the fight between these two. Master was enjoying, Thakur was enjoying their quarrel. Then he added, well Ramlal, tell me, who is a greater devotee, Rakal or Latu? Now, these two things, Rakal is disobeying his master and Latu is trying to correct, and on the way he has become very angry on this incident and then he is shouting. So Ramakrishna wanted to see the fun. He called Ramlal and asked him, now tell me, among these two boys, who is a greater devotee? Ramlal understood the point and said, I think Rakal. Rakal is the greater of the two. This remark threw Latu into a fit of rage and stammered out, Ah, what a verdict! He disobeyed the master and yet he is a greater devotee. Latu's fury made the master laugh and said, You are right, Ramlal. Yes, Rakal's devotion ranks higher. Just see how easily he is smiling and talking. Pointing to Latu, he said, and how terribly angry he is. A real devotee, can he show anger before his guru? He is telling, how can he become so angry? And that too in front of me. And the talk is between me and the Rakal. Why Latu should become annoyed? So you are correct. Rakal is a greater devotee. Answer is, anger is satanic. He says, anger makes love and devotion take wing. He says, when a man becomes angry, and then all the good sense disappears from the man. An angry man, we do not know what he does. So he says, this is not at all good. Latu was cut to the quick. He was filled simultaneously with shame and pique, and tears came to his eyes. He is shouting, Rakal is laughing, Sri Ramakrishna is seeing the fun, and naturally, how long he can shout? Then it turned into tears. He started crying, weeping. He said to the master, I will again see, look at the humility of the Latu. This is the greatness. Our fit of anger, when we lose our balance, when we lose our mind, we do not know ourselves. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhramshad buddhinashaha. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Sri Krishna, Lord Krishna in the second chapter, in the Siddhaprajnakshana, when a man loses a temper, what all bad things will have. One leads to another, one leads to another. How? He says, Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha means a lot of derangement of mind. Sammoha smriti vibhramaha. Then you lose all your memory, all your thinking, all your mind. Smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha. Your intellect will become shunned. Your intellect will not shine at that time. Buddhinashat pranashyati. By that, one man loses everything. He gets destroyed. So anger must be always be controlled. Many times people ask, Swamiji, how to control anger? I say, no doubt, in one day it cannot be done. But you have to go on giving auto-suggestion to your mind. Let me not become angry at any circumstances. Let me not lose temper. If we go on practicing that, slowly, we'll be able to overcome this anger. Natu Maharaj was a very good disciple. He had a lot of sense in his mind. So immediately he understood what a blunder I committed. Why did I become angry? Why did I lose my temper? So then immediately what is the thing? Most difficult thing. When you are angry with a person, can you ask him, oh friend, I'm very sorry. I became angry. Please forgive me. We cannot do it. Because there, our ego will not permit. Ego will make you think wrongly only. Always it makes me think there is nothing wrong with me. It was not my mistake. So many arguments we give within our own mind. And we think, I am correct, the other man was wrong. But instead, if it is like now Latumara does, he says, Oh Master, I will never again be angry before you. Please forgive me. I'm very sorry. I became angry. Forgive me. That is spirituality. To become humble. You are always humble. It's when everything is nice. But when there is an anger is with us, at that time, can I be calm? Can I be quiet? It is very, very difficult to do that. What is to be done? At the time, the scriptures give several options. If we can follow that, you can slowly get over the anger. What is that? The first and foremost thing is when it becomes very hot, that is when both of us are quarreling, best thing is leave that place. Don't stay there. If you stay there only, by seeing the another person, your anger will be increasing and you will start shouting. Suppose you immediately leave that place, go to your room or office or wherever it is, sit quietly. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and simply say, "Oh God, forgive me. Let me not be angry." If you can pray to God to make you cool, to make you calm down, it does happen. Sometimes another man will come, your friend will come, or a third person will come, and he will try to console you. Right? Don't get angry, leave it, let it be over, let it be over. Because the another man also is shouting, we cannot control ourselves. We try to argue and show that I was correct. So instead of that, if you want to be a spiritual person, the moment such situation arises, leave that place quietly and sit, go to a corner of your room or your house or your office and close your eyes and calm down yourself and pray to God, "Oh God, make me control my anger. Make me control my anger. Let me not be angry." It is a very difficult thing because there comes the question of our ego. Ego is a terrible thing. That ego does not allow you to go, does not allow you to keep quiet, does provoke you to prove yourself you are correct. The another man was wrong. Instead of that, whoever you may be right or you may be wrong. But anger is bad. That much is known to us. So control the anger, even though I am correct. Calm down yourself. Control your words. To control your words, you have to leave that place. As long as you're in front of him, you will not be able to control because he will also be shouting. So the best thing is leave the place and calm down yourself, drink some water, become very quiet, close your eyes and surrender to God and pray to Him, "Oh Lord, these are all business matters. These are all worldly matters. I want to be spiritual. The spirituality, anger is not good. Please, please make me calm. Please make me calm. Let another person may be right or wrong, I don't bother. But let me not lose my temper." So at that time only our character comes out. So if we can be humble, if we can be put down our ego and then remain calm and pray to the God at that time quietly, and then you will see that day by day you will become a better person and you will be able to conquer totally anger afterwards. 4 or 5 times like this doing, then you will see there will not be angry, there will not be anger at all in our character. So that is the way to conquer anger. So here Latu Maharaj is telling, oh, and he comes down further. In front of the Rakal himself, he is telling to the master, "Sir, I will never again be angry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me." We have to pray to God. Here, Sri Ramakrishna himself is there in front of Latu, his guru. So he prays to him, "Make me calm. Let me not be angry." That religion means realization of God. Ordinary teachers teach religion, but teachers like Buddha, Christ, Ramakrishna would give religion. So, years after later, Brahmananda narrated how the master roused Latu's spiritual consciousness one day. He also did not want anything. All he wanted was Sri Ramakrishna's company and an opportunity to serve him. So we will see, and another description we see which is not, that is also not found in the Gospel. Then, following a master's instruction, Latu woke us up one particular morning for meditation. They were all staying together. So it was not yet dawn. After washing quickly, we sat down to do japam. Sri Ramakrishna was there. The master said to us, dive deep today, repeating the Lord's name with devotion. These are the teachings which you do not find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, which Sri Ramakrishna used to teach the direct disciples, the sannyasin disciples, very secretly, very quietly, probably in the midnight or in the early hours or when nobody was there. So that day, some of the monastic disciples who was to become monastic later days, they were all boys at that time. They were all sleeping in the Sri Ramakrishna's room. Sri Ramakrishna was very kind. He allowed them, his disciples, to sleep in his own room. And whenever he feels, he wakes them up. Oh boys, get up, this time for meditation. So on one such day, it was not yet dawn. After washing quickly, repeating the Lord's name with devotion, then he began to sing. When Sri Ramakrishna sings, it was not merely a song. Every word will become live. Every word, utterance of Sri Ramakrishna will become live and brings light. He said, he sings that day, wake up, oh Mother Kundalini, wake up. And telling that, went around and around us. All these boys are sitting and meditating. It's a small room, Sri Ramakrishna's room. Next to the cot, under the cot, next to the cot, they were all sitting in a circle and taking the name of the Divine Mother. Then he is singing, oh Kundalini, wake up, and went around and around us. He continued as we did our japam. All of a sudden, without any apparent cause, my whole body shook violently. At the same time, Latu uttered a cry. The master placed his hands on Latu's shoulders and held him, saying, don't get up, stay where you are. I could see that Latu was feeling great pain, but the master refused to let him get up. After some time, I saw that Latu had lost normal consciousness. The master was still singing the same song and continued singing it for more than an hour. Thus, even through songs, he would transmit spiritual power to us. Sri Ramakrishna was not an ordinary teacher in great incarnation and a man of realization. And all these boys are very pure-hearted boys. Not much of effort was required. If you sing, so Kundalini, get up. And simply Kundalini will rise in their hearts and they lose external consciousness. And surge was so much, Latu was about to get up because that Kundalini is flowing from the towards the navi and then towards the throat and all. Then Sri Ramakrishna pushed him, don't get up, sit. And for some time, Rajamara is saying Latu has lost external consciousness. He was in deep meditation. So this is how Sri Ramakrishna was training his future monastic disciples. So even through songs, he would transmit spiritual power to us. So that was the way of Sri Ramakrishna teaching to these people. Now, we will see another description which we do not find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. On Latu Maharaj, the grace of the Guru was Latu's only refuge. He did not read any books, but day and night he saw the blazing life of the Master and heard his teachings. Once he said, I saw the Master in Samadhi many times, but one day I saw his beautiful, unique form. His body complexion was changed, and his face radiated fearlessness and compassion. I shall never forget that form of the Master. What all different forms Sri Ramakrishna used to manifest himself to his disciples. If you see a living Sri Ramakrishna full of light, what will be your mind's reaction? Immediately you lose external consciousness and get merged in samadhi. So that was the experience Latumara had on that day. Now, usually, we are all very humble sadhakas, probably in the very, very beginning stage of our life. Now, concentration is the great lacking in us. We find it extremely difficult to get concentrated, get the mind concentrated. It's all everybody's experience. Maybe a monk or a devotee, there is not much difference in these things. When you meditate, when you sit for meditation, we are all same. Just as you householders feel it, so much of distraction. We, the monks also, we feel the same way. One day a devotee asked me very humbly, Swamiji, what a great difference between you and us. I asked her, what is it? And she said, Swami, we have so much burden, so much of worries, so much of responsibility, so many things. You people live in ashram, and from morning to evening, you have the thought of Sri Ramakrishna. So, the moment you close your eyes, it is but natural, Sri Ramakrishna will appear there, and you can close your eyes and sit and meditate. But you do not know. Our monks' minds also equally restless, as probably not so much as householders. We also have to undergo the same type of problems which you all do. You may get the worries of your own house, relatives, devotees, but the monks get the worries of the ashrama work. Monks get the worries of their own routine. Monks get the worries of, oh, that devotee came, said like this like that. All the thoughts are thoughts. But to conquer those thoughts and keep the mind in Sri Ramakrishna is not a joke. It is equally difficult. So, in the life of great men like Latu Maharaj, another disciple, they too had several difficulties in meditation. So one such he is explaining, while he was in the temple one evening, Latu found that he could not meditate. He returned to the master's room feeling discouraged. So usually they all used to get concentration immediately. Once in a while, they will not get. One such thing happened to Latu one day. He went and sat in the mother's temple, Kali temple. In front of the Kali temple, there is a prayer hall, not mandap they used to call. So there he went and sat and tried to meditate, but he could not concentrate his mind. And he cannot concentrate his mind, not like us. We go on sitting and struggling. But they want immediately to do that. When he could not get concentrated, he got up. He felt himself bad and came back to Sri Ramakrishna's room. Their master was sitting on his cot. See, all these things you don't find in the gospel. Master was sitting there, and master asked him, "Why have you come back so soon?" Just now we went for meditation, not even an hour has passed. Why did you come away so fast? Then Latu says, I could not concentrate my mind on Japam. Sir, I sat there, wanted to do Japam and mother, but I could not concentrate my mind. It was wandering here and there. So then master said, why not? Why you could not concentrate? Then Latu Maharaj said, I do not know. He answered the Latu. On other days, when I sit for Japam and meditation, I see something and the mind gets concentrated. But today, nothing appeared. That when he used to sit, immediately the mother's image will come to his mind. No other thought will be there. So concentration was easy for him. But today, I tried hard to concentrate, but I failed, he added. On my way to the temple, the thought came to me. Now you see, what is the distraction? This poor Latumar had got it. From Thakur's room, he was going to the temple to sit and meditate. On the way, his mind started thinking. What he started thinking? He says, now, today, if mother appeared to me and offer a boon, what should I ask for? You see, it's not a bad thought. It comes to us also like that. He is asking. If God appears, if the Divine Mother appears and offers, oh, I'll give you a boon, I'm pleased with you, ask for it. And what I should ask for. And that thought was working in my mind. So now when I start for meditation, naturally there was no concentration. Still that thought was lingering in my mind. Then immediately the master said, there is the trouble. That is what has disturbed your meditation. Can one do japam with the mind full of desires? Now the desire has entered his mind. What type of desire it may be? Shall I ask for a savikalpa samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi? Or shall I make me forget my body and give up this body once for all? So many alternatives are coming in his mind. So master is telling, see, if you have got such desires in your mind, can one do japam with the mind full of desires? Never let that happen to you. Now let us think of our own condition. Such thoughts very rarely comes to us. When that if God appears, what shall I ask? It's a far off thing. Our mind is, we are not being able to concentrate. Why? The answer is given here. The answer is, your mind is not free from desire. There is full of desires in your mind. Maybe worldly, maybe spiritual, maybe for the good of others, whatever it is. And when I sit for meditation, if a mind thinks of something else other than God, you have to understand that thought is coming because of my desires in my mind. Unless I remove the desires, at least for the time being, let me not think of anything else other than God. Then only the concentration will be possible. So from this we can understand why we are not being able to concentrate. Sri Ramakrishna make it clear, when you have desires in your mind, concentration is not possible. Then he says, never let that happen again. When sitting to meditate, one should not ask for anything. If mother even ever insists on giving you something, then ask only for devotion to her. Never ask for wealth, power, sense pleasures, or anything else. We also, when we sit, the first thing we pray is whatever is required for that day. Oh God, give me this, give me that, give me that. And we go on asking so many things. And then we complain, I do not have concentration. How can it be possible? You have to remove all desires, temporarily at least, and keep your mind concentrated on japam or meditation, which we are sorry, which we are doing. So that is what we find regarding the Latu Maharaj's problem. This one is good. Now again, another incident. Why don't we get concentrated? Is over. Now another thing is, now in one more incident we find in Latu's Maharaj's life connected with Sri Ramakrishna. We do not again find it in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, that is, Latu was extremely fortunate that he got the opportunity to live with Sri Ramakrishna and serve him for over 6 years. Sri Ramakrishna taught Latu various spiritual disciplines. One day Latu was massaging Sri Ramakrishna's feet, the master asked. That day Master Masha was not there. That day not been recorded. Do you know what your do you know what your Lord Rama is doing now? Latu Maharaj today was properly Sri Rama. So he was massaging the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna asked him, do you know what your Rama is doing now? Latu was dumbfounded and kept quiet. The master said, your Lord Rama, he said, is now passing an elephant through the eye of a needle. Latu understood that Sri Ramakrishna, out of compassion, was pouring spirituality into him. Later, Latu reminiscences, did you know that the master snatched me from the snares of the world? I was an orphan. He flooded me with love and affection. If he had not accepted me, I would have been like an animal, spending all my days working like a slave. My life would have been worth nothing. I am an unlettered man. He used to tell me, always keep your mind spotless. Don't allow impure thoughts to enter it. If you find such desires tormenting you, pray to God and chant His name. He will protect you. The mind still will not remain calm. And then go to the temple of the mother and sit before her, or else come here, pointing to himself. He knows it is not very easy to concentrate the mind. Even the pure mind like Latu Maharaj, it will get distracted. Then he says, what should be done? Run to the Divine Mother. Because Sri Ramakrishna was doing the same thing in his sadhana days. He would simply run to the mother and cry in front of her, cry in front of her. Show me yourself, show me yourself. Like that, so he tells Latu also, when your mind is not concentrated, and you are not able to meditate properly, cry in front of the mother, and go on. If the mind still will not remain calm, go to the temple of the mother and sit before her, or else come here, come to Sri Ramakrishna's room. Because when he is in front of Sri Ramakrishna will remove all the things. Now, Swami Adbhutanandaji Maharaj served him day and night. And when Sri Ramakrishna's last day came, he was also present there. So he gives the description, actually, what happened on the last day. Sri Ramakrishna passed away on 16th August 1886. Many of the direct disciples who were present there, they have given what they saw. Here Latumana says, Latu vividly described the day and the days that followed. He says, every night, just before going to bed, the master would say, Hari Om, Tat Sat. That last night, he uttered this as I was fanning him. It was nearly 11 p.m. Calcutta was the hot days. So Sri Ramakrishna is suffering and lying down, all mere bones. Sri Latu Maharaj is standing there. And they used to fan hours after hours without getting tired. Then Sri Ramakrishna heaved a sigh and seemed to go into samadhi. Brother Lorraine asked us to chant Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat, because they did not want Sri Ramakrishna should enter to Nirvikalpa Samadhi in that with that throat pain. So they wanted to keep him awake always. So he told to chant. We continued to chant until 1 a.m. 11 p.m. to 1 a.m., 2 hours continuously chanting Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. When the master came down from Samadhi, only that was the way to bring him down, shouting loudly in his ears, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om Tat Sat. That is how he used to come down. Then he had a little farina pudding, which Shashi fed him. Shashi Maharaj Swami Ramakrishna was nearby. Thakur has not eaten anything on that night. So the only food he was taking was that farina. This one, he fed him. Suddenly, he went into samadhi again. A half spoon has been put into his mouth. Then again, Sri Ramakrishna went into samadhi. Seeing this, Lorraine grew worried. He called Gopal Dada and asked him to bring Ramlal Dada. Ramlal Dada was in Dakshineshwar. So Gopal Dada and I left immediately for Dakshineshwar, and Ramlal Dada came back with us. He examined the master and said, the crown of his head is still warm. Head side still there is a heat. Please call Captain Vishwanath Upadhyaya, the resident of the Nepalese government in Calcutta, and he was a devotee of the master. Call him also, because we also know a little of medicine. And Natumala rise. Holy Mother was unable to restrain herself. When she came to the master's room, she cried, Oh, Mother Kali, what have I done that you have left us? They all thought Sri Ramakrishna has left his body. So Mother, Holy Mother, what was her concept of Sri Ramakrishna? She always looked upon him as Mother Kali. So she shouts cryingly, Oh, Mother Kali, you have left us. Shortly after that, Captain arrived. He asked us to rub the master's body with ghee, clarified butter, that is. Shashi rubbed his body and Vaikunta massaged his feet, but it was to no avail. Early that morning, Dr. Mahendra came to examine the master and said, he has given up the body. Night 1 o'clock, he had left that. In the meantime, Calcutta devotees had received the news, and one after another they began to arrive. A photograph was taken of the master with his devotees. By that time, it was afternoon. The master's body remained on a cot, beautifully decorated, until it was carried to the cremation ground at Kashipur. Ram Babu told me to stay at the garden house until Akshay Babu returned from the cremation ground. So I stayed there, and while the others went, only once did I hear Holy Mother weeping. After that, She was silent. Never have I seen a woman with such great strength. That night I went to the cremation ground. I saw many people sitting quietly on the bank of the Ganges. Shashi was near the funeral pile with a fan in his hand, and Sharath was with them. Both Sharath and Lorraine sought to console Shashi. I took him by the hand and tried to lift his spirits a little, but he remained motionless with grief. Then Shashi collected the ashes and bones of the master and put them in an urn. He placed the urn on his head and carried it to the garden house before it was kept on the master's bed, where it was kept on the master's bed. The disciples continued to worship Ramakrishna's relics. However, Ramachandra wanted to enshrine the relics of the master in his garden house in Kankurgachi and establish a monastery there. Some disciples refused to accept this idea. Narendra settled the matter by sharing some of the relics with Ramachandra, who who installed them at Kankurgachi. Krishna's birthday, 23rd August 1886, he did it. Latu attended that consecration ceremony. This was the last contact of Latu Maharaj with Sri Ramakrishna. That is, and afterwards it is said Latu Maharaj was so much grieved, he even stopped walking on the road of Kashipur cremation ground because so much of thoughts of Sri Ramakrishna will become very emotional. So that ends there. And later on, he goes to pilgrimage to Vrindavan with his holy mother, and then comes back afterwards Alambazar Mutt, Baranagar Mutt, and afterwards a lot of traveling, tapasya. His tapasya was terrible. Nobody could do like that. So much of tapasya he did it because it was easy for him to concentrate his mind and enter into samadhi. And he got all the knowledge. And as Sri Ramakrishna has said, afterwards, whatever he used to speak, all the truth, whatever you find in the Upanishads, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the other Bhakti literature, spontaneously, Latu Maharaj could give the essence of that teachings to his devotees who used to come to him. He never lectured. He never wanted to speak, but devotees will naturally come to him. And very, very unknown places he used to remain. When Belur Math was started, Swami made rules. All monastics should follow these rules, he said. But as soon as it was said, Latu Maharaj simply got up and started leaving the mutt. He said, no, I don't want live in the mud and follow your rules and regulations. Because he used to say, meditation will not come to me when you ring the bell. Following the bell system, I cannot do it. I meditate anytime, any number of hours. If I sit, I don't know when I get up. By the time your food will be over, you will be angry that I did not come for food in time. So all these botherations I don't want. So very less he lived in the mud, always lived outside, anywhere and everywhere. A Kali train bogie is standing somewhere, goods bogie, nobody is there, he will go and settle there. Or one Basumati press was there. That press he will go, and that owner of the press was a friend of Latumara. He will tell, I will stay here for some time and go and lie down on any paper bundle, sit and for meditation and lose consciousness. Outer consciousness is gone. So meditation and spiritual life was nothing for Latu Maharaj. He lived like that, and whoever devotees came in contact with him, they were highly benefited. Because just like Sri Ramakrishna, he was not talking religion, he could give religion to others. So that was the wonderful life of Latu Maharaj. if you get to get inspiration, lead the life of Ratu Maharaj. It's a big life. And his teaching, and definitely it itself is a meditation, and you will all be benefited. Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you.
Any conduct is
Bible.
నేను తెల్లవంగా ఎలా పోర్లేదు